Hi, Pat the Podcast Editor here. How can you put a price on time? Today, Dan and Lloyd are discussing the minefield of establishing what you should charge for your hard work in whatever market you're in.
But you know, the person that comes to fix your broken tap or something, and they fix it in 2 seconds or a minute, and you're not paying them for the 2 seconds, you're paying them for the 10 years of experience.
What? 200 quid? That only took you 2 seconds. Well, actually, it's taken me 45 years, love.
Now, everyone knows that people love value for money. So what's to stop people from just undercutting the entire market and raking in all of the clients?
Yeah, you can, but you end up in this cycle of working longer and longer hours, and I've seen people be in this horrible place they can't get out of, because if they try and change anything, they'll earn even less because they'll lose the customers they've got.
So you're saying that everyone should just increase their prices then, yeah?
Oh, no. And that frustrates me.
Okay, right. So what you're saying is, I shouldn't price myself too low, but I also shouldn't price myself too high?
The problem with that is a lot of people aren't doing a good enough job to justify doubling their prices, so they'll lose all their customers in the next 2 months, and then they'll lose their business, and then they'll lose their house, and then they'll be sad.
So, what's the secret then? Stay tuned to find out. Right, let's get stuck in. This is episode 51 of the Business Anchors podcast.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
Why is it so challenging to figure out what you should charge?
Lots of reasons, which we'll discuss in this podcast episode. But I think a big thing is that when you're selling something, your time, service, product, you want to get as much money as you can for it. And when you're buying something, you want to pay as little for it. So there's a constant battle with everything in the world.
If that's the case, then I guess it's doesn't value come into it? Doesn't how much, because different people value different products, different services, different outcomes in different ways. So isn't it down to that? Like, have you heard that analogy of I'm going to really muck this up because I'm rubbish at these, but the person that comes to fix your broken whatever tap or something, and they fix it in 2 seconds or a minute, and you're not paying them for the 2 seconds, you're paying them for the 10 years of experience.
What? 200 quid? That only took you 2 seconds. Well, actually, it's taken me 45 years, love.
Exactly.
Yeah? Was that a good rendition of that situation?
But that is essentially...
to learn my craft so I can fix it in 2 seconds and not in 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you said about value. I think it's about two things. It's about trying to gauge the value of what you're offering the best you can, but also there's a whole other side of being able to prove that that's the value. Yeah. Because you can think in your head, God, I am worth so much more than this. But if you have no way of telling the world why your time is worth that, then it doesn't matter because no one will pay it. Because I think a lot of people get stuck in this thing where they think, I'm worth more than this, and they just think that and get all
but it's like the market
angry
won't pay
in their
that.
own mind. It's like, well, you need to do things to demonstrate to the world that your time is worth that, and it probably is, but you're not doing anything to prove it, so they're not going to pay that much.
I also think I actually received a reply to the Friday Club last week from a really nice lady who was sort of asking for advice about pricing and she sort of said. Because we did a podcast episode about marketing catfish and how, if someone's charging very little, you should watch out because that's a sign that potentially they're not going to provide much value. And she replied like, oh, I feel really bad because recently I haven't got much business and I've cut my prices really low because I want to get more business in. And I guess you just need to be careful that that's not the answer, is it?
I think it's dangerous. I mean, sometimes cutting your price or giving discounts can be the right thing to do. But I think it's usually quite a rare occurrence. I think you can get into this thing in business where you want more business, so you lower your prices lower, until you don't have a feasible business. And you think, just to get a few more customers in, but then you've got loads of work to do. You're never going to be able to improve. I think, and what's really worked well in our business, and we had to learn this the hard way, we didn't necessarily lower prices, but we weren't doing the right thing. When we haven't had as much work over the years, when we've focused on improving our business and getting better at what we do and being able to show the value in what we do, then the next week, the next month, the next day, we win more business at that same rate or higher. But like I said, we've gone through times where we're, pricing, we had no idea what to do and considered doing things at lower prices, probably did do things at lower prices.
I think we've always had that over the years. Whenever because we've spoken about this before, business is all about peaks and troughs. Sometimes you live in the high life and you're smashing your targets, sometimes you're not. And when you're not, and there's pressure, and it's like, I need to pay the bills, I need to pay all of our team's wages. There's pressure to think, if I just cut my prices, then we'll get more business in and it'll work.
That definitely puts a lot of people and me in panic mode sometimes.
Yeah.
When you've got to pay thousands in wages at the end of the month. So you think, well, we've got to do something right now. Drastic.
But
start a seed subscription.
Glad we didn't do that.
Yeah.
But from experience, we know, like you say, that when we've actually thought, right, let's not panic, let's regroup and focus on, how can we improve our marketing to get more business? When we've done that, and those times when we've really taken a step back to invest time on our business and not just in it, they're the times when we've really seen growth.
I always come back to when we talk about pricing. When we first started in business, we've spoken about this before. Our dad was like our business mentor because he's been in the business world for years. And
oh my God, I remember
I came out of my job, and I'll be completely transparent. I think I came out of a job that I was earning around £21,000 or £22,000 a year. So that works out something like £80 a day that you're being paid for your worth or whatever. When I was in my mid-20s, early 20s. And I remember our dad saying, right, you've got to be aiming for charging £500 a day. And I literally, I think
you made a squeal, didn't you?
That was one of those. And I was just thinking, why would anyone ever in my whole life ever pay me that much for something? And in the end, he sort of said, well, you're starting out, so let's go. I can't remember.
I think it was
£240.
Yeah.
There was a calculation. And I was like, because I was just thinking, how can I look at someone's face and ask them to pay me £240 for a day of my time? And over the years, I've realised that when you're in business, that it makes complete sense that has to be charged.
We didn't have the experience to understand that you're charging that because you're providing that much value, and the output of what you're doing is providing more than that.
Yeah.
But when you just think of it and you've been in a job and you haven't run a business, you think, how does that make sense? Someone's going to pay you that much. But yeah,
it's also when you look at a business, it's kind of simpler to look at it as a one-man band, you starting out, but also it works similarly with employees in businesses. So I worked it out, like spread evenly across the year, that I was earning £80 a day in my previous role. So I thought, well, those numbers are so much bigger than that. That's ridiculous.
But you didn't have all the extra costs.
Yeah, there's extra costs, but also there's, there's around 21 on average working days in a month. If you work a normal week, you actually have weekends, which I would say most people need to be sane and have a nice life where they're happy and long term. Normal kind of holiday every year makes that an average of 19 days that you could earn money. So that's your chance to earn money. You need 5 days a month at least, from our experience, to work on your own business.
So that you're not just delivering work.
No customers are going to pay for that because you're working your own business. So that takes it down to 14 possible days you could charge for your time. And then you might be in a line of work, a lot of people are, where they need kind of 1 day prep for every 1 day that they actually do work and they're with a customer. So that takes it down to 7 possible days in a whole month that you can get paid by a customer if you're never sick.
And we don't let our staff be sick, do we, Lloyd?
Never. So if if I earned like 80 or 90 quid, like I wanted to, because that's what my employer was paying into my bank.
That just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, I'd be earning £630 a month, which would not be sustainable.
It's interesting when you think of it like that.
Yeah.
That's a really logical approach to understanding why you need to charge enough.
Well, all of the people on our team have days that they are working on things that a client is paying us for. So that makes sense. But we also have loads of days. Like right now, we've got people in the team involved in this. We're clearly involved in this. You can hear us. and we've had people that have designed the graphics. We have people that upload this podcast that do lots of jobs around it. No customer pays for that. Even when you go up from one-man band to a business, there's all those that time.
This would come into our working on the business and investing in our own marketing to get new customers and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting when you think of it like that. I think a lot of people are going to hear that and think, because the most people, I mean, I've been listening to you like, oh yeah.
Well, when I was first looking at it, even first when I started to get more of an idea, when I stopped thinking, I could do 30 days a month for 80 quid a day and that would work out. I even got to the point where I was like, oh, actually, there's only 20 working days in a month. Okay. And I was like that for a year or two.
Yeah.
Then I realised there's so much stuff that you don't get, that a customer isn't going to get pay for. Therefore, to run an effective business, you have to charge a lot more.
So how, like, if someone's listening to this and they get that, you can't charge the same day rate you would in a job because there's all these other things involved. How do you actually work out what to charge? Like what? I've got some thoughts on this, but I'm interested to hear.
Well, I think, from my point of view, there's kind of two ways that you start. You either look at the market and think, what does the market pay for this stuff that I do? And then work out, am I a bit worse than the average person in the market? Or like, am I way better? Am I kind of average? Yeah. Or the other way around, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. You kind of think, I want to earn this much and I think I'm worth this. Let's work backwards and work out how much I'd have to charge.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I was going to say, I think like doing the research to figure out what the market rate is and then see where you fit in the pecking order of that. Because like when we started out and we were charging $240 a day or something, and now we charge a lot more because the value we've got evidence that the value we're providing is significantly more. Like when we were charging that amount, $240 a day, we were providing that amount of value, but through the years of experience and learning and improving and getting better at marketing, getting better results for our customers, getting bigger, more credible global brands, we now have the authority to be able to say, and again, with me, this is what's really helped me. You asked me the other day, Dad asked me actually, sorry, when I was at home. Dad said, how have you now got so much confidence in selling and you're improving? And I like to think I've still got a long way to go, but we're winning bigger, better clients and that kind of thing. And I think it comes down to, in a pitch, I don't feel like I'm selling, because I believe so strongly and passionately that we can deliver results if we're pitching for it. We'll only pitch for something if we are confident we will get the results. I feel so confident because of the evidence and the data from other campaigns. I'm not selling, I'm saying, look, we would really love to work with you. Here's how we could work with you. Here's evidence of how we've done it for other global brands. I'm so confident this will work. Do you want it or not?
Yeah. That's why I feel so confident in our business, and I'm rubbish. I'm still rubbish at selling, but I feel so confident that obviously other people can sell what we do.
Yeah.
Because there's no need to overly convince people, because it's like, well, we're just saying this because this is what we do with everyone else we work with.
Yeah.
And they pay us this.
Yeah.
And they get a great return.
And I think it's like, I'm saying that now, we got to a position where we're, quite further along our journey from just starting as a really small business. But I remember when we started out, it's like stepping stones. When we first started helping a very small local hotel, we got some good results. We helped them grow their audience. We got them some bookings through their hotel. And then we could use that evidence to get a slightly larger customer. And then we actually got a brand, work with a council. And we're like, oh, we've helped the council and here's what we've achieved. And it's those stepping stones. You don't suddenly go from working with a local hotel to a global brand like Wall in like a few weeks. It takes years of those stepping stones. But
do you know what, in the early days, when we were at the earlier steps, which a lot of listeners may be as well, what really used to frustrate me is there were so many people that were competing on price. So like there would be people, we'd be up against someone in a pitch or giving them a proposal, action plan, whatever you want to call it. And this is a made up number, but it might have been like, oh, we're going to charge you $1,750 a month to manage this social media thing. And then they'd get a quote from someone else that was going to do it for £199. And it really used to frustrate me, because that kind of thing of like, I know that if someone's charging that, they're either not putting enough time in to add the value that you need
Yeah.
to get what you want, or they're earning 30p an hour. I mean, and if it's that, fair enough, you're getting a great deal and they're providing
Yeah.
good value. But
Yeah.
it was frustrating.
Yeah, but I remember, and we can kind of laugh about it now, but I remember, speaking to a few people at networking stuff that were literally charging like 200 quid for a website. And when you think about it, and also we were young and naive, and when starting out, we did stupid stuff like that. But you can't.
Oh, we still do stupid stuff.
Yeah, we still do stupid stuff, but you can't run a business charging 200 quid to make a website or 300 quid a month to manage someone's social media. Like, you don't have the time. You literally physically don't have the time to deliver the value.
I kind of like, I want this to be like a warning to the nation, to all the business anchors out there. I think, please don't keep dropping your prices. And you need to look at the business as a whole and kind of think, hang on, if I continue, even if I double my prices and I continue in the way I'm working, if you're still earning under minimum wage, then full time, you've got to think this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
I need to adapt something. I need to improve what I'm doing or charge differently. Because we know of, there's two people that have had links with the businesses over the years. Obviously, I'll keep everyone completely anonymous. That I know have burnt through inheritance from people they've got from starting a business that was never going to work if they looked at it in the right way and
crunched the numbers.
Because there's one that was charging £10 for a monthly service years ago, and by the way, they weren't stupid, they weren't shit, they weren't a terrible person. They just hadn't done some simple things at the start that they needed to do to make sure it was feasible for them to live. And the service came with like a personalised call that took a couple of hours and stuff. And I worked out when we were trying to support this anonymous person that they would need to earn 20,000 a year income. They would need 166 customers every single month.
Was it new customers?
Just customers that they were working with every single
recurring,
month to earn 20,000 a year, which to some people they think 20,000. Oh, that's great. Some people that's quite a modest wage, but if you're working hard, a lot of people are in their career are looking to earn higher and higher. And then worked out if he needed 1 hour prep for this personalised call and an hour on the phone, he'd have to work 16 hours a day every month without holiday or sickness to earn that in a year. And that was just part of the service. Yeah. So I think it's that thing at the start.
I was like, logically,
you need to work backwards and go, okay, if I need to earn this to live, how many customers do I need? How much time does it take me to service those customers
and money?
Because I think he and a lot of he or she and a lot of other people that start a business look at it first from the customer's perspective. Like, if I could offer this for £10 a month,
they'd love it.
I'd get loads of sales.
Yeah,
I'd be able to sell it to loads of people.
You just implode.
You can, but you end up in this cycle of working longer and longer hours, and I've seen people be in this horrible place they can't get out of because if they try and change anything, they'll earn even less because they'll lose the customers they've got.
So you're saying that everyone should just increase their prices then, yeah?
Oh, no. And that frustrates me. I feel like I've been ranting a bit.
No, but I am playing devil's advocate here because I think some advice out there is, to counteract what you're saying, the solution, Lloyd, is just to raise your prices. Just times your prices by 10.
No. Although there are people out there saying 10x your prices.
Right.
Well, we've got good friends that give the advice of increase your prices. And sometimes I think do you think sometimes that's the right thing?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't do those mathematics and actually don't charge enough and do what the lady who messaged me said and I'll cut my prices when really they actually are providing more value than that. So they should increase their prices. So I think sometimes...
It can be good sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
The people out there, I personally believe, that just say it to everyone should double their prices right now. Because I've seen that out there a lot.
That's
if you want to improve your business,
advice.
Double your prices right now, and next year you'll be
a millionaire.
The problem with that is a lot of people aren't doing a good enough job to justify doubling the prices, so they'll lose all their customers in the next 2 months, and then they'll lose their business, and then they'll lose their house, and then they'll be sad.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I think a much better focus than double your prices is improve what you're focus on time, improving what you're doing.
So you
you
can
have the
charge more.
opportunity to
Yeah.
increase your prices.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever done this, but I read something that I thought was quite a good way of doing this over time. It said something like they had a 50% conversion rate. So if they were pitching for work or whatever, they'd get around 50%.
Yeah.
And they used to just increase their prices by
Until-
like 5%
Yeah.
until their conversion rate went under 50%. And then
Yeah.
they'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, clearly the market's telling me that I'm not that good yet.
We've literally done this.
Oh, have we?
Yes. So with not necessarily that specific.
Oh, okay.
But I remember with our strategy development days that we run.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I delivered a couple, and with people who we really trusted, and they gave feedback afterwards. And this is on the honest truth. They gave feedback and said, "By the way, I would have literally paid double for this. Your way." And this was at the early days when we punched in the mic again.
Hey!
This is the early days, and I thought, oh really? That's so. What we started to do was, we didn't double the prices, but increase the prices a bit, and then conversion rate didn't drop, and we've since kept going up and up and up until it gets to a point when you do start to realise people.
What's quite frustrating is that shows we were really undercharging for quite a while.
Yeah. Oh
Well,
yeah.
People got great deals
Well,
though.
the worst thing, again, in sales, the thing that we very fairly charge our services based on the value we're providing, right?
Yes, definitely. If anyone's out there, we can demonstrate to you that.
Yes, we can. But sometimes I get really I kick myself in the foot, or kick myself when.
Hang on, no, we've got to analyse that. Why did you just say you would kick yourself in the
No, I
foot?
kick myself because.
Where?
Shut up. I kick myself because when you're pitching and you communicate the investment fees of like, this is what we charge, and someone like literally goes, yep, we want it straight away, you know that the value they see they're getting is way more than you're charging. So potentially you could have charged more. But at the same time, we want to be fair with what we're charging as well. We don't just want to kind of whack up our prices, but...
Oh, we made noise at the same time then. God, we are such good brothers and business partners.
I've liked this discussion.
Good.
I hope this is useful because I think pricing is such a difficult thing.
Yeah, I think we spoke about smaller businesses in the early stages a lot in it. I think there's things that definitely carry over to businesses like ours. I mean, there's things, when I worked out my thing of, I got paid £80 a day if you spread it across. I've now realised as an employer, the actual costs are to have
Much
someone
more.
probably double that.
Because of pension and...
pension,
National
tax,
insurance.
all this employers' national insurance, and then all the costs you have to have people working for you. But it's definitely worth it.
It's totally worth it.
That's why we pay people, and they do a brilliant job, and the business works. But so it's a bit more complicated, I think, when you look at charging. We have a system now in our business where we look at the costs of the team working on it. We know how much profit the projects need to make for our business to continue to grow and survive.
Yeah.
And that's how we charge it. So we work out, right, we need people to work on this production for this many days over a period of 2 months, and we need video editors to work on it for 7.5 days, and it's going to cost us 4,000 in costs. So
Adding it all up.
Yeah. But if you want to hear more on that, tell us.
Yeah.
I don't think you do, because Dan's looking at me like, stop talking.
No, I think that's good. I think this is we're at a good place. Was there anything else you wanted to say about? Oh, one more thing. I just thought. Sorry.
Clearly doesn't want to hear from me, does he?
This is a weird thing that Dad taught us as well, to not call pricing and to call it investment fees.
Oh yeah.
Because when you talk about pricing, it just sounds like someone's paying for something and not getting in return.
What's it cost?
Yeah, what's it cost? We never say that. It's all about investment fees. Just like we don't call proposals, we call them action plans, because it's a plan to help you. It's not just a proposal to get money from you. Yeah, there were two more things on this.
Bit of psychology behind pricing for you
Yeah.
there. Nugget of information there. Dad used to do a thing. We keep talking about our dad. Weird for you, isn't it, listeners? Do you remember when he used to do things, niggles and nuggets? Right, who's got a little niggle that's something that's not quite right in the business that's frustrating them, and who's got a nugget of something really good they did to improve things?
Yeah, I remember that.
If you're listening, Dad, you're welcome. I'm not taking the piss out of you, just mentioning nickels and nuggets.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. That was a really good one. Thanks for listening, guys, and go and tell everyone about this podcast and help us get in the charts again, please.
Okay. Oh, you want to talk to me? But yeah, please do that as well. End podcast.